Jordan Ellis, and I'm here as a teaching artist with Kids from Wisconsin. I am originally from the Milwaukee area. I went to high school in Menomonee Falls, and then I went on to study musical theater in Chicago, where I got my bachelor's degree, and I went on to perform on cruise ships, and I did some national tours. And I lived in New York for about 10 years auditioning and doing all that, and I've finally come back home where now I have the opportunity to work with Kids from Wisconsin as a teaching artist and go into different communities and share our love of music. And I'm actually still an active performer. I am a guest entertainer on cruise ships, so I still fly out to ships for like a week or two, and I'm with a group right now. So I perform with them. We perform music from the last like 7 decades, so we kind of mash everything together. And I'm also putting together a solo show to go out and do it on my own, which I'm forming around one of my favorite groups, the Carpenters, whom I'm here to talk about today, and one of their songs in particular, called Superstar, that they made famous, but it actually was not their song originally. They covered it. So I'm here to talk about the evolution of one song from its inception to, the versions that we may know today. So first, I kind of want to get us talking about just in general and feel free to chime in here, what to you makes a good song?
A beat.
A good beat?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that definitely makes a good song. Anything else?
Lyrics.
Lyrics? Energy? Yeah, a lot of great things make a good... Oh, story. I love that you brought that up. Because that's one of my favorite things about what makes a song. So, for me, a song has a good hook, a catchy, maybe a repeated line. Like, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it, right? So, like, that's a hook. And you know exactly which song I'm talking about, right? Or Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture, right? You know exactly what song I'm talking about. So I think a song has a good hook, and I think it has a good melody, and I think it tells a story, that my friend here just said. And maybe it doesn't tell like a story verbatim, but maybe it makes you feel a certain way. That's what makes you happy. That's good too. Yeah, so many good things make a great song. And kind of branching off of that, does anybody know what a cover song is?
Not an original, but a recreation.
Yes. Right. So that's when an artist takes a song that already exists and they put their own spin on it. They inject their own magic into the song. So that's kind of what I'm here to talk about today. I mentioned the Carpenters, and I want to focus on one of their songs. They did a lot of covers through their career, as well as a lot of originals. But the song I chose is one of my favorites and one of their most successful, and it's called Superstar. And you may have heard a version of it by a different artist, but my favorite is theirs, and it's probably the most well-known. But as we go through this, I'm going to start at the very beginning, like the inception of the song itself and the people who wrote it and the very first artists to record it, all the way to the most recent version. And as we go, I'm going to kind of ask you to listen for like what's literally different about the song. Like what did you notice musically that was different? Maybe they changed some lyrics. And then I'm going to ask you how that version made you feel. And as we kind of go on, maybe I'll ask you what your favorite is, and maybe your favorite version changes as I introduce new ones. All right, so I'll get started with the very original song, or the very first version of the song, I should say, is by a group named Delaney and Bonnie, whom I had never heard of before, so I learned a little something putting together this presentation for you. The original idea for this song, so Superstar actually was originally called Groupie, and Superstar was in parentheses, and the original idea came from an artist named Rita Coolidge, who was actually at the time a background singer for Delaney and Bonnie and went on to have her own career. But she came up with the idea for the song. Does anybody know what a groupie is? If I were to just say that, do you know what it is?
A group of people that follow somebody. It's a fan.
Groupie, right? It's an individual. Yeah, we might call him a super fan. But especially in the 60s and 70s, there were people who like followed the band around the country, like on tour, maybe even internationally. Maybe had a romantic connection with one of the band members. It can mean many different things. But yes, a groupie in essence is a super fan. So, oh my gosh. Yeah, so Rita Coolidge had the idea for the song about a groupie who was obsessed and a little obsessed or romantically involved with a member of the band, and then that band goes away on tour and they miss this person. So one half of Delaney and Bonnie took that idea and they ran with it. Bonnie Bramlett co-wrote this song with a man named Leon Russell, and it actually wasn't released as a single. They released it as a B-side. So at the time, they released singles on small records, and it called 45s. And their intended single would be the A-side of the record, and then on the B-side, they'd put another song maybe from an upcoming album or a live version. So this song was initially the B-side to a single of theirs called Coming Home. So I'm going to play you the very first version of this song ever recorded, and then we'll talk about it.
All right, Henry, crank it.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, ready?
Oh, that's a sample worthy. I love sampling. Turn it up. Turn it up.
All right, so that's the very first version of this song, sung by one of the co-writers of it herself, Bonnie, by the band Delaney and Bonnie. From hearing that, could you maybe guess around when that came out? Like a decade? It was the late 60s. Yeah, 1969 is when that song was written. Right? And I had never heard that version, so I actually really love it. I'm very excited that I chose this song, because otherwise I wouldn't have discovered this version of it. Yeah, so their version is not very well known. It didn't go anywhere, really, because it was just a B-side. They didn't release it professionally. But then we move on to just a couple of years later, and a woman by the name of Bette Midler puts her own spin on it. Does anybody know who Bette Midler is? No? Have you ever seen the movie Hocus Pocus?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she is Winifred Sanderson. She's the redhead, the oldest of the sisters. She is a very, very big actor. She's been around a while, but she actually got her start off Broadway and Broadway, and as a recording artist in her late 20s. And she's one of my favorite actors of all time. I may be partial because she shares my birthday, but she's also been in many other successful movies like The Versa Wives Club and Beaches, and you name it, she's done it. Anyway, so she put her own spin on it. of which she, and I think this is when the song kind of sort of started to gain popularity, because she performed it live on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, which we now know as the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon.
Wow.
But she performed this in February of '71, and this was on her very first album called The Divine Miss M. And this is kind of where the song really starts to take on a life of its own. It's very different from the original, so listen for the differences, and we can talk about it. It's already so different, right?
Yeah, oh my god.
Long ago, and so far away, I fell in love with you before the second show, and your guitar just sounds so sweet and clear, but you're not really here. It's just the radio. Don't you remember you told me you loved me, baby? Said you'd be coming back this way again, baby. Baby, 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 oh, baby.
Some like overview shots of people do.
Love
We'll cut it in. It's like stuff.
loneliness.
So dramatic, right?
Yeah, oh my god.
Such a slide of light. And I can hardly wait, oh, just to sleep with you again. What can I say to have you come back and play? Yeah, you can play that sad guitar. Don't you remember you told me you loved me, baby? Yes, you said you'd be coming back this way again, baby. You called me, baby, oh, baby, I love
Is this still is this still the two people?
No, it's a new artist now.
Who's this?
Bette Midler. She's an actor.
Midler?
Yeah.
Betty Miller.
Bette
Oh,
Midler.
Betty Midler.
Bette Midler.
So the song previous wasn't by Betty
Bette.
Midler?
Bette.
All right, Henry, if you want to taper it down. So this one was created 2 years later
Yeah,
after
so-
the original hit.
We can kind of keep it going. It goes on a little bit, but
Okay.
I do like her ending here.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, Bette Midler is she's been around a while. She's I think in her 70s now. Still making movies. Well, they just released the Hocus Pocus 2. Was that
That's
last
right.
year?
Yeah, she was in it still?
Yep, she was.
What a different vibe. It doesn't
Right?
pick up until later when like it pops, but there's so much emotion leading up to it where the other one kind of takes you in right away.
Right. So you get the feel. It kind of goes on. She does a little more dramatic monologuing. So this is where I'll start posing the questions. And if you're watching this on the video, you can pause it and kind of discuss amongst yourselves. But here in person, first I'm going to ask you. Now that we have two versions, we heard the original. We have Bette's. What was literally different about the song? We kind of already started talking about it.
Tempo?
The speed, the tempo changed for sure, right? The first one had a steady beat, a groove, and this one was very like it was elongated phrases. It was a ballad.
Yeah.
To me, like you can tell like her theatrical background comes in here. She really delivers it like a monologue, like she's talking directly to this person. And
And there was only piano in the beginning for a long
just,
time.
yeah, for the majority of the song, it's piano. It's just her and the piano. And sometimes that's all you need in this song, right?
Sure.
But yes, what I mean, it's like night and day compared to the original, and she puts her spin on it. So the fact that she performed this on the Tonight Show is very important because Richard Carpenter of the Carpenters saw her perform it live on TV. So this is obviously back in the day before we had internet and YouTube, and you could just watch a video whenever you wanted. If you didn't catch something live on TV, you missed it, and you had to hear about it. So he caught it. He happened to catch it live on TV, and that inspired him to write his own version of the song. So Bet performed that in February of '71, and by August of '71, the Carpenters released their version, which is now the most well-known version of the song. So a little history about them. So they're a brother-sister duo based out of California, and their first hit was actually also a cover of the Beatles' Ticket to Ride. So, and kind of around that time, a lot of people were covering each other's songs, and one artist would happen to make it a hit. But this just happened to be another cover they did that also was successful, and they charted #2 on the Billboard Hot 100. And so this is where, again, the song evolves a little bit more. They put their own stamp on it. And the Carpenters were known for their signature layered harmonies, where they layered themselves in the chorus, which you'll hear, and we can talk about a bit more. But this is probably the most well-known version of the song that is known today. Here is Superstar by Carpenters.
I gotta save this too. It's sample worthy. Oh my god.
That's the first album I saw earlier. That's the first album cover I saw earlier.
Oh, it's the
That's
bigger
what I
one.
was asking about.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
so this
so
is the most popular version
most
of the
popular?
song. Yeah.
I fell in love with you before the second show.
This is in the 60s too?
This is 1971.
So fire. Beautiful, man.
What's up? I feel like the song would be in James Bond.
This could be, yeah. The feel of it, the strings and everything, totally.
Yeah, exactly. Just need some drums.
Don't you remember you told me you loved me, baby? You said you'd be coming back again, baby, oh baby.
I feel like 2000s would have been
Oh, no, for sure. For sure. 2000s Wayne, yeah.
They would have just had what's a word that could be used? Anyway, what's that word?
Onomatopoeia, no. Entendre, using the same word multiple ways. Entendre, maybe?
Is that what that
Let's
is?
ask Jordan.
Because I feel like that would have been crazy over it.
Yeah, where you use the same word but different meanings.
Yeah.
What is it? When you say a word but it can have different meanings.
Double entendre?
Double entendre. That's what it is. Double entendre.
Yeah.
So he was just saying if there was a hip hop version of this song, you could do like a double entendre. Like Lil
Oh, a
Wayne, like
superstar?
version, when Lil Wayne we used to do
Sure.
in 2000, like you'd kill this.
Yeah.
Nobody's done a hip hop remake of this, have they?
No?
What to say?
I didn't know that. Yeah, of course. Now I can just start saying.
There are those signature vocals right there. Those layered vocals. That's all them just layered up.
Don't you remember you told me you loved me, baby? You said you'd be coming back this way again, baby, baby, oh baby. I love you. I really do.
Sing it, Karen.
Don't you
so there we have the most well-known version of the song. That would chart at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 at the beginning of 1972. All right, so let's talk about it. What was, having now heard 3 versions, what was literally different about that song? What stood out to you in that version of Superstar?
It was.
Faster at parts, yes.
It
Anything
was-
else? Lyrics remain the same for the most part, yeah.
It was cleaner, like more professionally recorded, maybe. Were they bigger
Okay.
hits compared to the others?
Sure. Well, and they were also known just for their clean cut sound too, like because Richard did a lot of their arrangements. He was classically trained, so and he's responsible for those layered vocals, which you heard. You know, when you hear like the ooh baby, it's like a million different versions of them all layered, and that's kind of I think also what kind of helped to boost the song. Yeah, they layered themselves on different parts, right? So and they would I think put at least two or three of each like part on a track and just layer it. So there were like essentially, I think up to 100 of them or whatever, just all layered. Anyway, so yeah, so that version, we finally get that signature Carpenter sound, and they're kind of early on in their career. So I feel like that it also kind of helped to, you know, that song essentially like helped to kind of continue giving them their name and their popularity. So then how did that version make you feel compared to the others?
What about you?
Me?
Yeah, which one do you like better?
Well, I already told you I'm partial to the Carpenters.
Oh, God.
But you know what I love about that version, if we're talking about literal differences, is I think it combines perfectly the first two.
Yeah.
Because the first one was driven
Yeah.
and like had a steady beat, and then Bette Midler's was very much a ballad and she was milking everything. And I feel like this was a great combination of the two because the verses were very slow and lyrical, and then they brought everything up for the chorus. The drums would come in, those layered vocals came in for the chorus. I think that's why this is a great mix of the first two. So then also speaking about differences in the song, I made some like notable lyric differences here. So for the most part it's the same, but they did include some subtle differences that from the moment that they did the song kind of remained as part of the song. So if you remember in the original, she starts by saying long ago, so far away. She kind of stretches out. She doesn't say as many words, but she's stretching it out. And the Carpenters add long ago and oh, so far away, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're listening to it, there's a lot of internal rhyming there, right? Long ago and oh, so far away, right? They're kind of playing with the lyrics there. And in the original, she's singing, your guitar sounds so sweet and clear, but it's just a radio and you're not really here. So that's like the common rhyme scheme, right? But then the Carpenters switch it to another. And you know what? I misspoke because when I listened to the Bette version, I noticed that she did the same thing. So I'm going to credit this change to Bette. But, and then that same line, she says, your guitar sounds so sweet and clear, but you're not really here.
Oh.
It's just the radio. So there's another internal rhyme there too. And that version stuck. Like every version you'll hear from then on has that lyric change. And in the original, it's a little more intimate. They're saying, I can hardly wait to sleep with you again. And Carpenters go on and make it general. I can hardly wait to be with you again. And that's the version that kind of sticks going forward. And then another, a final lyric change. In the original, she's saying, come back and play for me your sad guitar. Which to me, it sounds weird because you wouldn't just say that if we're just speaking. Or you wouldn't say it like that. The way that they phrased it makes a little more sense if you're speaking it. Come back to me again and play your sad guitar. So there are little subtle differences, but they kind of stuck once the Carpenters put their stamp on it. So now, because it was so successful, it was about another decade before someone else put their spin on it. And this, I probably have to say, is the second most well-known version of it by the one and only Luther Vandross. Yeah, so his version was the second to hit the Billboard Hot 100 charts. It came in at number 87 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it hit number 5 on Billboard Top R&B Singles. So a little history about Luther, if you didn't know, because again, an artist's history kind of influences their, it kind of influences their spin on things and how they approach a song, right? So that's very important when we're thinking about why their version might sound a certain way. So Luther started out as a backing vocalist for some of the most well-known vocalists of all time. Those include Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, David Bowie, and Bette Midler.
Whoa.
So
Okay.
Luther, remember we mentioned the second version was by Bette Midler, and Luther actually started as a backing singer for her. So that couldn't, be one of the reasons why he decided to cover this song. After he was a background vocalist, he went on to write jingles before ultimately becoming the 8-time Grammy-winning artist we know him as today. And in the early 80s when he was touring, he would do a version of Superstar in combination with a Stevie Wonder song called Until You Come Back to Me. That's what I'm going to do. And he would turn it into like this up to 12-minute spectacle where he'd have like a lyrical dancer on stage. And anyway, that led him to record his own version of it. So without further ado, I give you Luther Vandross, Superstar. Again, so different, right? But so good.
You said you'd be coming back this way again. Baby, 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 oh, baby.
Is that your Wi-Fi?
We don't have Wi-Fi here.
I was gonna say,
But that would not be the name.
Like, that's pretty approved. That's good.
And oh, so far away. I fell in love with you.
Can I get another water?
Of course, man. Have as much as you like. Popcorn water.
Before
It's all
the
you.
second show.
If I could get more, too.
And your guitar. And you sound so sweet and clear. But you're not really here. It's just the radio. Do you remember you told me you love me, baby? You said you'd be coming back this way again. Baby, 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 yeah. I love you.
All right, I'm going to fast forward just so we can hear a little bit more of his interpretation of this song. He has some good stuff at the end here.
Said you'd be coming back this way again. Baby, baby, ooh, baby, oh, baby. Yes, I really do.
Yes.
So you can see how he turned into a 12-minute spectacle on stage, right? He was just milking every line, every note.
All the fans are going wild.
Yes. Those iconic vocals, those ad-libs.
When are you gonna say it's alright, it's alright? Ooh, baby, it's alright, it's alright. Alright now.
All right, so there we have Luther's cover of Superstar. All right, so again, I posed the question to you, what was literally different about that version? Everything, right? But to point out a few things, what could we say about it?
That was like a love anthem.
A love anthem, that's a good way to
Really
describe
slow,
it.
like,
Yes, yeah, he drew out every line. And what I loved, if you notice, he's the first one to start out the song with the chorus. As the others, they either have a musical intro or they'll go right into Long Ago and Oh So Far Away. he hits it with the chorus right away. And maybe along with that, he's trying to get to like the meat of the song, right? Because in essence, like if you listen to the chorus, that's really like where the desperation within the song lies, right? Like, don't you remember you told me you love me? You said me coming back. I love you, I really do. And he starts off with that. I thought that was a really, really fun choice. And then of course throughout he has a lot of those ad libs, and he's just kind of rolling with it, really milking it, which I love, 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 love about that version. So that was 1983. So now we're 14 years in since the song was written, and we already have 4 different versions of it. 2 of them in the Billboard Hot 100, Carpenters and Luther. And then, so that came out in 1983, and something else, something big happened in '83 in terms of the Carpenters, and Karen Carpenter died that year. So of course their career was cut short. But I mean, well, they had 14 good years, but you know, she died young. She died at 32. And so that's kind of essentially when the Carpenters were done. But they had already made such a mark on the music industry by then. I mean, their music still lives on today. One of this song mainly, or is one of the big ones. But it would be another 10 years before somebody else covered it, and they covered it in a Carpenters tribute album called If I Were a Carpenter. And so this was 1994 now. So we've jumped ahead 11 years. And this was, so it was a bunch of bands that were popular at the time. Sheryl Crow was on it. Different people chose a different Carpenter song to cover. And so we get a cover of Superstar from an American alternative rock band called Sonic Youth, who I hadn't really heard of before doing this either. And their version it didn't make it to the Billboard Hot 100, but it ranked number 26 on the Billboard Alternative chart. So I'm not going to play the whole one because it's a bit, well, you'll see. It's different. We'll talk about it. You like it? All right, so that is Sonic Youth. That came out in 1994 for the tribute album If I Were a Carpenter. All right, let's talk about it. What's literally different about that one?
Whispering.
He's whispering. That's a choice, right?
Sounds like Radiohead almost.
Kinda, yeah.
Weird.
Music to like heavier guitars.
Yes. I love that you pointed that out. Yes, it's very guitar heavy. He's doing that same intro that was done like with strings or piano in the other versions and making it the guitar. And I think opening with that, it does have an effect, right? Until he gets into that vocals. And you know, it may not be like your preferred styling or whatever, but you do have to appreciate the take on it. Richard Carpenter himself actually kind of noted his distaste for this version in particular. I think it's because it was a tribute album, and I don't know if he really cared much for that version based on what he's said. But it's a choice. It's out there, and At this point, I kind of want to gauge. So we've listened to now 5 versions of it. Is there any one in particular that you gravitate toward?
For some reason, the original moved me the most.
The original, the very first
Yeah,
one.
like it moved me the most. Like I was like,
Oh sure, yeah. No, I'm now that I've heard it, I'm a fan of the original for sure. Yeah. Anybody else have a favorite one that they gravitate toward? Yeah. You have a favorite? Which one?
the new one.
The most recent one? I know you said. I heard you say something about it when it started. Right? Was it that guitar? Did you like the guitar at the beginning? Yeah. And you know what's cool? That's kind of what's cool about having these different versions. Is like your favorite version might not be my favorite version, might not be his favorite version. You know, and but that's the beauty of it. If there's a version of the song that you relate to, that's awesome. Hmm?
Favorite one was the one that sounded like James Bond.
Oh yeah, so he said while the original was playing, he said that it sounded like it could have been in a James Bond movie, and I didn't even think about that. But if you listen closely to the arrangement, I think it would fit well, especially into the James Bond of the like that decade. Absolutely, yes,
So,
I
just-
agree.
Jordan, a question for
Yeah.
you. For some people who may not know the music industry, how does that work when there's an original that gets remade a bunch of times? You need permission, right? How does that
Yeah, well, so the original songwriters, every time the song gets remade and it's played or streamed or purchased, they always get a cut of it. They're called residuals. So much like actors get residuals for the shows, like every time you see an episode of Friends, like they're getting paid every time it airs. Every time you hear a song or stream a song, the original, not just the artist who sings it, but the person who wrote it or the people who wrote it get paid for it.
And to recreate the song, you have to have permission before you do it.
Yeah, so that's something I'm doing right now actually, because I've recorded my own cover of this and I'm kind of figuring out how I get it on
Oh,
Apple Music and
okay.
Spotify and all that. Some sites do it for you. There are a lot of different sites you can use to upload it, and especially because all the songwriters are registered. I think it's called ASCAP or something like that. Yeah, so there are places that will not only upload the music for you, but make sure that the original writers get their share of the streams and the purchases and everything too. So I think it's all very streamlined
Cool.
now.
Now,
Yeah. So that's something that I've been looking into. It's really interesting.
when is your version coming out?
I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. Hopefully sometime this year, and maybe I'll play you a sneak peek at the end. We'll see.
It was 94.
So now, yeah, so we're up to 1994 with Sonic Youth, and then we jump another 9 years. So now we're in the year 2003.
Okay.
Where an artist named Ruben Studdard
Oh, no way. Oh,
covered
shit.
it. He was on the 2nd season of American Idol. So we all know Kelly Clarkson won the 1st season. Ruben won the 2nd one, and he sang his version of Superstar in the finals. And he talked about being influenced by Luther. So we're kind of seeing again how like the artists are all being influenced by one another, right? Bette Midler drew it from Delaney and Bonnie, and then Carpenters from Bette, and then Luther from Bette, and then Carpenters, and now Ruben from Luther. And what's a fun fact about this one is Ruben Studdard was actually nominated for a Grammy for his performance of this song in the same category as Luther, when Luther was nominated for his song Dance with My Father. So it's kind of cool that he was inspired to do this song by Luther and then ended up being nominated in the same category the same year as Luther. So this is Ruben Studdard's version of Superstar.
Long ago,
Damn, that
You can see with the vocals, right?
Wow.
I know so far away.
That is beautiful.
I fell in love with you before the second show. And your guitar, you sound so sweet and clear, but you're not really here.
All right, so that's Ruben. Starting you out with the vocals right away, just hitting you. What's literally different about his version? What do we notice?
Big vocal forward.
Straight up R&B, yes, vocal heavy. We love to hear it. Yeah, his voice.
Yeah, his voice.
So good. And what I love about his version is that he goes in right from the top. There's no musical intro. There's nothing. It's just his voice. Long ago and also far away. He just starts us off with the story. That's all we need. We only need his voice. Okay. And then how did that make you feel then? Did it make you feel a particular way compared to the other versions?
I was floating.
Floating?
Yeah.
That's a good word. I like that descriptive. Yeah. What? As if he's looking into her eyes and singing it. Yes. It's creating that intimacy, right? Like with not even having to like refer to it in the lyrics. He's just like intimating that by looking into her eyes and the way that he's singing it. Amazing. Yeah, so that is probably the most recently recorded version of that song. And up to this point, do we have any favorites? Now that you've heard that one, is that your favorite now? Or like, yeah, you like that one? Okay. Any others? Or are you pretty firm in the first one?
This one's probably like a close second.
Close second to the first? But isn't that cool too? That's a part of like talking about the legacy of one song. You know, it started out as like, I mean, the people who wrote it didn't make it a hit. It wasn't a hit, but then somebody else chose to take it, put their stamp on it, and that inspired others to do the same. So the song has evolved with every artist that's done it. And I kind of mentioned earlier that I'm putting together a solo show revolving around the Carpenters. As much as I've been inspired by them, I want to pay homage to their music and what it's meant to me through the years. And just yesterday, I went down to Chicago to record my own version of this song, which I'm planning to release at some point later this year. And I was debating it, but I think I have a rough cut here that was sent to me last night. So I'll just play you guys a little snippet.
This online when you play it.
Amazing, yes, much appreciated. But hopefully you'll be able to find this on... Hopefully you'll be able to find this version
Gotta wait for it to
on
be released.
Apple or Spotify, wherever you stream music later this year. So this is very, very rough cut, but
That's 50 years in the making, huh?
this is, so yeah, now we're 50 years, that's it.
That's you singing?
That's me.
Jesus.
All right, so that was freshly recorded yesterday down in Chicago.
Who produced it?
My friend Ethan, he actually works with the group that I perform with, and so he...
Dude, that was a rock ballad. That's what it reminded
he did that whole
honestly.
arrangement, so I basically presented to him what I wanted.
Yeah.
Like, I had this idea of it being kind of like Dua Lipa meets the Carpenters.
Yeah, totally.
I wanted it to sound like something you could hear on the radio today, while also staying true to the original. You know, I like paying homage to them. I didn't want it to sound too, crazy. But I also wanted some of myself to come through in it too. So he put that together, and we kind of corresponded back and forth until we perfected it. And then I decided on a whim, I was like, I just want to record it. Can I come down and record it in your studio? And we did that yesterday.
You killed it with the singing on it.
Thank you.
Really cool,
Thanks.
yeah.
So he's just got to mix it and put all that together, and then I'm kind of working on how to get it out there and promote it and all that stuff. What's that?
The beginning of it sounded like it would play in an anime fight.
You think?
yeah,
With the filtered vocal?
Once you release it, you can license it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. If you ever want to license it, let me know. We can talk. Okay, so now you've heard, I think, what now? 7 versions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7, including mine.
Now for me, it's the first and the last.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So then I just kind of wanted to close on, we already talked about how each version changed as a new artist kind of put their stamp on it and what may have influenced them to create the version that they did. So, and I really think that that's in essence how a song evolves, right? Like a song that started out as nothing is now like a popular song. You might hear it, walking around the mall, or you know what I mean? Like it lives on 54 years later and it's still like relevant. So by each artist having covered it and the evolution of the song, I think therefore we have, the song has left a legacy of its own. And you can say that about a number of songs that have been covered, however many times. And I think, talking about music appreciation, I think that when an artist takes, another artist's song and puts their own stamp on it, I think that's the highest form of flattery and appreciation, right? Is that they saw something that resonated with them in the song, or they heard something that made them want to go, oh, I can add something to that. There's something in that I understand and I wanna make it my own. So then, going forward, I would love for you to, maybe listen a little bit more closely to your favorite artists, your favorite songs, and see if you've maybe heard a certain melody before and where that might have come from, and see where your favorite artists might have drawn inspiration from, and then go give those original songs, those artists, a listen and see what you discover. You may discover your, new favorite artists that existed, 50 years ago, and it's still relevant today because they're being covered or they're being listened to by you. So thank you so much, Dima, and you all at the New State for having us. I really appreciate it. Enjoy your weekend.